Jai Hind, friends. After again a gap of few days, we are here with our live session, and this time we have with us Rajveer uncle and Shalini auntie from Delhi. They are the brave parents of Major Dhruv Yadav. Major Yadav was born on 29th of December in an Air Force family in Haryana. He was the son of a retired wing commander, Sri Rajbir Yadav sir. He did his schooling from the well-known Rashtriya Indian Military College in Doon Valley. He then joined the prestigious National Defence Academy and subsequently Indian Military Academy Dehradun. He was commissioned into 75 Armoured Regiment of the Armoured Corps, the elite combat arm of the Indian Army. And today we will listen from uncle and auntie about the childhood and teenage of our beloved hero Major Dhruv Yadav. Auntie, we will first like to Jai Hind, auntie. We will first like to listen from you about the childhood memories of Major Yadav and his bonding with his sibling. So we want to know from you first.
All right. Namaste. I'm Major Dhruv Yadav's mother. I have to say I'm very proud to be speaking to all of you. I get very emotional. I don't want to, but I do. I have to say that Dhruv came from a typically Fauji family. His Nanaji was in the Air Force. His father was in the Air Force. And he was born here in the Delhi cantonment. And when he was born, he was like, those Parle G biscuit packets. He was a beautiful baby. And when he passed away, I asked myself and I asked God, I said, why give me a beautiful child to cruelly take him away from me? That was my first reaction when Dhruv passed away. But as a child, I can tell you something. He was happy. He was happy-go-lucky. All the time wanting to play. I had such a hard time making him study. Such a hard time. And since there was hardly any age difference between him and Namrata, my daughter, they were friends. They were good friends. They fight and they would play. And Dhruv studied all the time in the Air Force schools. So he changed lots of schools. We got posted from Delhi to Allahabad to Jorhat, back to Allahabad. Then he came back to Delhi. And he loved to swim. So there was a lot of swimming going on, and he would do lots of masti bazi in the pool. And all I can say is those were wonderful years because not too much studies. Then when he was in the 7th class, Rajveer and I, we had to tuition him for this UPSC exam. I have to tell you, the first time he didn't get through. Then the second time, he passed the written exam. And this was after a lot of tuitioning. I taught him English and GK. Rajveer taught him maths. And then when the time for the interview came, we even had little mock interviews, Anyway, he passed. He passed the medical. And I have to tell you, my husband's also from the same school. And I remember I left Dhruv at Dehradun and I was so worried. I said, my God, he's so little. But he loved his school. He made lots of friends. He tried to box because his father was a boxer. But he couldn't. He'd hurt himself. He bashed his nose. He was wearing braces. He got a bloody mouth. So we told him, Dhruv, look, forget the boxing. So with a lot of trouble, he gave up the boxing, but he started squash. And then I have to tell you, he made both of us very proud when he became the Pratap section commander. That means he was one better than his father. And that made me very proud. Then, when it came after he did those 5 years at RIMC, he sat for the SSB. He passed the exam. SSB, no? He passed the exam. And I asked Dhruv, are you sure you got through? Oh, he was very confident. And he told me, don't worry, Mummy. You look, we had to go to the UPSC center at Shah Jahan Road in New Delhi. You start from the top. I will be one of the tops. Slowly, as we near the center, he said, no, you begin from the middle. Then he said, begin from the bottom. I said, Dhruvi, are you going to get through or not? So he started laughing. And when we went there, he got a very good score, And he went up to NDA. I remember at NDA, my son wasn't brilliant. He was an ordinary, normal, happy child. And he went through the training with all his heart. And I remember once he came back home. And my God, he was so thin. And they had cut his hair so short. And I thought, I said, Dhruv, you're looking so sick. So he said, no, I'm fine. It's just that this is how they cut the hair. He had no hair. They had cut it so close to his head. Anyway, they go through all that ragar patti, what they say in NDA. And gradually, which Echo, he was in the Echo squadron. And I got 1 or 2 prizes around this room. And then he passed out of NDA. We went to the passing out parade. It was a summer parade. They wear white drills. And it was fabulous. There's this torchlight display, there's these marching contingents, then the commandant comes in a buggy, and it was fabulous. And I was so proud. And all these cadets, they're young faces, and they've got amazing energy. And then we went off to Dehradun. And Dehradun at IMA gets a little harder. It gets very hard. It was in the Karyappa house he was in. And he trained, and then I remember his pipping ceremony. That's during the passing out parade. After the passing out parade, the parents are then invited to put the stars on the child's shoulder. And that is really when he becomes an officer. And I cannot tell you, I was so proud. If you ask me today, if Dhruv is given back to me, will I send him back to the army? Yes, I will. Only I ask God for a different result. That's all. To be kinder to me. That's all. And he passed out, and then we got a call from Dhruvi to say, Mummy, a Sahab came today and he gave me all those ceremonial things, they give him their belt, what they wear on ceremonial occasions. That's really a very formal induction into the army. He was so proud of it. And we asked him, where you got posted? So he told us, Lalgarh Jatta. I said, my God, Dhruvi, where is this? So he says, look at the map. And we looked at the map. It was in Rajasthan near Ganganagar, an outpost. Now, when I think of my son's life, I think everything came back in a circle. I remember when he was born, we were in Jodhpur Hospital. Now, now when we go on his birthday to revisit the National War Memorial, that's one circle. Then Dhruv was inducted in Rajasthan. He passed away on the Pokhran Ranges in a battle exercise. That's one circle. Then in not Jaisalmer is where he passed away. And he passed out of Dehradun and he went back to the same institute as an instructor. I remember till today. I was watching from the rooftop. I saw a little gentleman cadet saluting my son, and Dhruv stiffened up and saluted back. And I said, oh my God, my son is what he is today. He's an instructor. He commands respect. And I cannot tell you, the only thing is when he passed away, he was so young, so healthy. Why, I asked God, why can't he take the older people? Why take the younger ones? That is all. But I love my son. I miss him dearly. I miss him. And I have one wish. If ever God gives me my life back again, I want to be Major Dhruv Yadav's mother once again. Thank you. Now you go, Raj. My husband will speak.
We are really short of words after hearing you, Auntie.
No.
It is really tough for us to say anything because we know that nothing can, heal your pain. Even the time can't.
Much. Thank you for sending me those diyas. Thank you. Thank you.
Auntie, that's, I can say you that that is the smallest thing we can do for you, that we are with you in every ups and downs. That we can assure you. That diyas are actually that assurance. So this is our love and our respect for our hero, Major Yadav, and our love for you also. And now I will want to know from Uncle that, as Auntie said, that Major Yadav's Nanaji was also in Air Force. You were also in Air Force, and but Major Yadav chose infantry armor for him. Is there any reason that he choose that? He choose armor for his
yes,
career?
There is a reason. We in the Air Force are slightly detached from our men and this thing. So when Dhruv went to RIMC, he had a colleague of his whose father was in the army, and he belonged to one of the Sikh regiments. And every time some soldier who came to Dehradun to meet the General Himaya's son, they would get him a whole lot of laddus, pinnies, or whatever you call this thing. And Dhruv would come back for his holidays and he would tell me, he says, initially he used to address me as Papa, then later he became slightly older, he would address me as Dad, and so on and so forth. He says in the Air Force, nobody cares about us, but you see in the Army, they are so attached to the family itself, all the soldiers who come and his friend Beriappa, who was his coursemate. So at that point in time, he decided that he would join the army and not the Air Force. Though I was hoping like hell that he would join the Air Force, because life is a lot better and you see the entire countryside in a big way, because you're moving in an aircraft from one end of India to the other end, especially in the transport aircraft fleet. So that was the reason why he joined the army. And my impressions of Dhruv's upbringing is that as a child, he was always, he was not interested in studies as much as he was interested in outdoors. He would love playing even when he was around 5, 6 years old. We had bought him a cycle, and you see that he would be cycling all around the campus where in Delhi Supermarket Park when we were there. And he would come back, after the sun had set. And despite the fact that I would punish him every now and then to stand in the corner, holding his ears, he would always be wanting to go out and not stay at home. That was him. And especially when the two of us decided that he would join the RIMC, I had taken him earlier over there, and he loved the idea of going to RIMC and not being bullied by his parents, that he studied hard and made it to RIMC on his own. And there itself he had done fairly well, despite the fact that a lot of my juniors and this thing were his commandants and things like that. I would never approach them, and later in one of these occasions, his commandant told me that this youngster had left the school when the end of the term was coming. He had left the previous night when the college had made arrangements for him to go by train. Because they were very young, and the college would send all these children in a group. So, later when he was no more with us, I had gone to the school to see the archives, and there I saw a couple of his confessions over there. He wrote that I left the school on my own, nobody this thing, and if I am responsible for it. He would never let me know anything of this sort when he came back home, except for the fact when the commandant, his section master, told me that he's not doing very well in academics, that I would make him go through a couple of tuitions, especially maths and so on and so forth. But he was always looking out to be outdoors. And like my wife told him, that because I boxed, he wanted to do better than me. And that's why he took up boxing, despite the fact that he was badly hurt on account of his braces and so on and so forth. But he picked up squash in a big way. And today we've instituted a trophy for the intersection squash championship behind Dhruv's name.
And I have to tell you one thing. When Dhruv passed out of NDA, we couldn't afford a motorcycle for him. So he took his father's old Bullet motorcycle. Poor fellow. He tried so hard to make it run, but it wouldn't run.
That's not true. When I asked him when he was passing out, my father had given me a motorcycle. And this motorcycle has been there with me for the last 30 years. I asked Dhruv, do you want a brand new motorcycle or do you want this one? Because I had stopped using it, I had got a four-wheeler by then. And Dhruv volunteered to take my motorcycle because it was vintage. And once he himself bought a four-wheeler, then the motorcycle was run by his Sahayak. So what she says is not true. Dhruv himself volunteered. We still have the motorcycle now. It's more than 60 years old, but it looks brand new still.
And when he passed RIMC, my father-in-law was so proud. He was known in the village as Captain Sa. So everyone was so proud he joined the army. So he brought great honor to us.
Actually, Auntie, I was when you were telling about the grandfather of Major Yadav, I was just imagining your pride and your happiness when you will see Rehan as an officer.
You know something, it would make me feel so wonderful, I can tell you. But
True.
it's something I would force upon Rehan. But
Absolutely.
if he were to follow his father's footsteps, oh, it would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thumbs up.
True.
Yeah. And we made a little room, you know, in a memory of Dhruv.
What I'll do is I'll just show you around from his childhood to the point where he.
Should we do that?
Yes, sure, Auntie, sure, Auntie.
We'll start here. We'll start here. Can you see him? There's a little baby here.
Yes.
And after that, I'd gone for staff college. At that time, Dhruv was young. Can you see that? And this is as a small baby. Then this is with his Nana Nani. And here he's with his cousins. And you see this little fellow? That is Dhruv.
Yes.
He's a cheeky little boy. And here both Dhruv and his sister Namrata. That's Dhruv grown up, and that's Shalini with Dhruv when he was a baby. And that's his Masi's. And can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, uncle. Yes, uncle.
Yeah, these are some of Dhruv's cups and his medals. Okay. Can you see?
Yes, Auntie. Yes, Auntie.
These are all his medals that he won in IMA, NDA, and various places.
You know, I didn't have the heart to put his boots, his belt, and his uniform in the cupboard. So I put it in a glass case. Can you see?
Yes, Auntie.
So
Yes,
I put
Auntie.
his boots in a...
Yes.
There are a couple of various letters that his commanding officers and this thing had sent glorifying him. This is one of the organizations that had given this trophy for Dhruv, and that's him. And this is the trophy that was named after him. And Dhruv's name appears in the various. So that's, I'll just take you around, and this is when he was in NDA and RIMC.
Amazing.
These are various. And this is his parchment commission when he was commissioned. These are the medals that he earned at various places.
Yes.
These are some of my medals actually. So, and that's Dhruv in IMA as the instructor. That's when he was commissioned.
Yes.
That's in IMA.
Put it back.
So,
anyway, thank you once again. I know it is very kind of you to hear these stories. I only have a small small message that anyone who wants to join the army should join the army. It is a wonderful institute. When Dhruv passed away, they gave us a lot of warmth, love, support, and sympathy. And I have to thank them from the bottom of my heart for that. So please, all the young boys, join the Indian Army. It's a wonderful institute. Thank you.
I would love to play. Actually, Namrata Didi has sent some audio message to our viewers. So I want to just play that message to our viewers now.
Okay.
Can you, one second?
Good evening. My name is Namrata Yadav and I am Major Dhruv Yadav's sister. At the onset, I'd like to thank you, Team Desh, for celebrating Dhruv's life and choosing to remember him after so many years. I'm deeply touched and honored that he lives on through our collective memories. When Adrija actually reached out to me, I asked her, what would you like to know about Dhruv? And the first thing she asked me is, did we fight? I think my parents and Surbhi are a true testament to the fact that we fought till the very end. Dhruv and I were very, very strong-headed people, individuals, and he was like fire and I was like water, or vice versa. We were diametrically opposite, and yet our lives and our identities were interwoven. And I would like to believe that even though a part of me has gone, yet a part of him lives on through me. And with that, I have been actually thinking about all the times we fought, and there's so many, so it's very, very difficult to pinpoint a fighting memory. But I'd like to tell you about something very, very sweet when we were children. I think I was 15 or 16, I'm not very sure. But Dhruv had just graduated from the Rashtriya Indian Military College, and I think he was a first termer at NDA. And he'd come home for the holidays. And my father was posted in Delhi those days. So typical of all summer holidays, we would spend our evenings playing at DSOI. Dhruv would play squash, and he would, of course, swim after a game of squash. I would, of course, just swim there. And there was a very, very sweet gentleman, a retired army officer. In fact, he was also a Rimkulian, who would teach all of us some acrobatic tricks in the swimming pool. And somehow I managed to get challenged to do 100 lengths at the pool. And I remember I started doing it. I don't know why I had accepted that challenge, because I had never swum more than 20 lengths, and that also my father coaxing us to do that. But somehow I did accept the challenge, and a friend of ours went and told Dhruv that I had accepted the challenge. And just about the time I was barely managing to finish 20 lengths, I heard Dhruv actually walking up and down with me as I struggled to swim, and told me not to give up. And that is my most favorite memory of him, that I managed to finish 100 lengths for the first time. And I had Dhruv by my side, shouting and cheering me on. So for me, that is my most favorite memory, apart from the fact that we fought a lot. But that is one of my most favorite memory of Dhruv. That he had this never say die attitude. He was always joshed up, and he tried instilling that in me all the time. So Dhruv was, I think, a wonderful sibling. he was more than a sibling. He was a friend. He was a mentor, and I think our relationship evolved and changed with time. I think when we were younger, he was more brother-like, more an elder. And as we moved on, and I went to college, and our lives took parallel paths, and yet we were geographically so far away. Yet he was always there. So he was a wonderful sibling to have, and I think he still. Uh, I think our relationship has evolved tremendously. Uh, Even though he's no longer there with us physically, I think I hold him as a role model. I think I look at him to guide me through situations in life even now, and more than ever, he forms a very integral part of my identity, and I think I will hold that till the very end.
Also love to actually today morning when I was chatting with Namrata Didi. So I would love to read out few of our conversations where she wrote few beautiful things actually. So she had written that till the very end, he was my sparring partner. My parents were fed up with us that as adults we fought like kids, and my father would make us sit down and counsel us, and we would found that very funny. Dhruv was my anchor. Whenever in trouble, I would run to him. But when all was well, oh my God, we fought. When I look back, I sometimes wonder why these little things matter, but then it brings smile to me.
True.
Yes.
And such a wonderful message from a brave sibling of Major Yadav.
Absolutely. Even I was actually, I could visualize when Namrata Didi was telling that she was swimming and Major Dhruv
Swimming and
Yadav was doing
cheering
up and
him,
down and
cheering her up.
cheering her
Absolutely.
up. And yeah, I could visualize that. And here, auntie and uncle actually, Sangeeta, she's my wife of Major Akshay Girish. 2 days back, Major Akshay Girish's martyrdom day was there. She is watching and left a message also for you both that respect, gratitude and love. Warm hugs, uncle and auntie. Share your pain. I feel the pain, yet so much pride in all you brave parents.
Thank you so much. All of you reaching out to us, we are very grateful. It gives us a lot of comfort. Lot of comfort.
Auntie,
We're not
please,
alone.
Auntie, please don't be grateful because
Absolutely.
you gave your best assets for the security of the nation. So please don't be grateful, Auntie. It's the mothers like you actually securing our children who are sitting in the nation. So they are doing
And
their
also,
job. They can serve the nation. They can do their job only because your sons are doing their job. So please don't be
and
grateful,
auntie,
Auntie. Please.
as a mother, we draw inspiration, we draw strength from you. Actually, like you all
Absolutely.
are guides for us, the new mothers. So I mean, we are always learning from you.
As you said also that Major Jadhav was much more interested in outdoors rather than his studies, and Major Amit Verma's mother also when she came to our Vartalap, Auntie also said that he was such an hyperactive child in the school. So it really gives us hope that it might be one day our children will also do something good
Oh,
because
yes.
they are also least interested in their studies.
That is so normal.
So normal, absolutely.
So long as they are happy, so long as they are all rounders, that is all you want to be good human beings.
True,
You don't
Auntie,
have
very
to be
true.
great. And then everything works out. Anyway, thank you so much for this session. Thank you again.
Auntie, you have already given your message to the young generation who are listening to you. We want to hear something from Uncle also, because he was a veteran and he was a father.
Yes.
So we wish to have some message from Uncle for our young listeners and viewers.
Oh, the only message that I can give is that whoever the child is, he must be made or he must be encouraged to do what he wishes to do and not necessarily go into a profession where his heart doesn't lie. So if you are interested in the armed forces, great. If you are interested in being a teacher, even that is better. All that you have to do is that whatever profession you take up, it must come from the heart, and then you must give it all that you have. That's all I have to say.
It's important. Your heart must belong there.
And the reason why we let Dhruv go into the army, because that's where his heart was. Even going to RIMC, it was never thrust down upon him.
Never.
We had taken him to school before he appeared for those exams, and I asked him, "Do you want to come and study over here?" And he sees so much of outdoors and various activities that the school carried out. He said, "I'd rather be here than in some school where I'm only looking at books all the time." So that was his choice. We never forced it on him.
So we really thank Uncle and Auntie and Namrata Didi for joining us today. Namrata Didi couldn't join us due to some of her commitments, but obviously she sent a beautiful message to all of us, which shows the sibling bonding and the value of the sibling bondings actually in our life,
Yes.
value of siblings in our life. So, and we really thank you, Uncle and Auntie, for sharing those precious memories with us and to be with us today. Tonight. So, thank you so much, Auntie. Take care. Take care, Auntie.
Pranam,
Take care,
Uncle and
Uncle.
Auntie.
Jai
Jai Hind.
Hind.
Go and keep safe.
Yes, sure.
Sure, Auntie. We will. Jai Hind.
Bye bye.